Once upon a time, in a quiet village of Umweze, nestled in the heart of Igbo land, traditions were held sacred. The villagers believed that the spirits of the departed often roamed among the living, guiding, protecting, or even punishing. It was a time when the prince of the land, Prince Obiora, was to choose a wife through an ancient custom, a dance competition. Whoever danced the best at the village square would win his heart and become the next queen. For Nkem, an orphan girl living under the cruel hands of her aunt, Adako, this competition seemed like a dream she could never dare to dream. Nkem was beautiful but battered, hardworking but oppressed, and talented but without opportunity. Her aunt and her three daughters, Nenna, Ujunwa, and Ngozeka, spared no effort in ensuring her misery. Nkem had never known the warmth of her father's arm. He had died before she took her first step. Her mother, Chinwe, was her anchor, her safe haven. But that too was taken away when she was just 10 years old. She died. Her aunt, Adako, her mother's elder sister, took her in, but not out of love for her, but to serve her and her lazy spoiled children. The sun was slowly setting over the quiet village of Omweze, casting long golden rays over the dusty path and thatched roof huts. Nkem, a slender young orphan girl with deep brown eyes and a heart of quiet resilience, balanced a clay pot on her head as she walked to the village stream, her aunt's sharp words still ringing in her ears. Lazy girl, if I don't see that pot full of water before the sun disappears, you will sleep outside. Nkem sighed. She had grown used to Aunt Adako's cruel ways, but the weight of her situation was sometimes too much to bear. The path to the stream was long and winding, cutting through the heart of the village. She passed groups of children playing with sticks, their laughter bittersweet to her ears. There was no time for play in her own world. As she neared the stream, a familiar figure came into view. Chisum, her childhood friend and only confidant. Chisum was a year older than Nkem, with a round face that seemed perpetually lit with a kind smile. She was squatting by the stream, raising out a calabash bowl, when she saw Nkem, and her face brightened. Nkem, she called, standing up and waving. Nkem managed a small smile and quickened her pace to meet Chisom. Chisom noticed the dark circle around Nkem's eyes and the way her shoulders slumped under the weight of the pot. She put a hand on Nkem's arm, concern etched on her face. Nkem, are you okay? You look tired. I'm fine, Chisom, Nkem replied, setting the clay pot down to the ground and rubbing her sore neck. Just the usual, she continued. Chisom folded her arms and gave Nkem a knowing look. The usual? You mean your aunt treating you like a slave while Nenna and the others lounge around doing nothing? Nkem let out a dry laugh. You make it sound so simple. It's just my life now, Chisom. Complaining won't change anything for me. But it's not fair, Chisom said, her voice rising slightly. You deserve better than that. Your mother, may her soul rest in peace, would never have allowed this happen to you if she was alive. That woman is supposed to be your aunt. At the mention of her mother, Nkem's eyes filled with tears. She quickly wiped them away, embarrassed. Mama is gone, Chisom. I have no one now. If I speak up, Aunt Adako will throw me out. And where will I go? Chisom shook her head, her frustration evident. You are stronger than this, Nkem. Don't let them crush your spirit. One day, things will change for you, and I know it. Nkem gave her friend a weak smile. I don't even know what change looks like anymore. But thank you, Chisom. You are the only person who hasn't given up on me. Chisom grinned. I will never give up on you, Nkem. You are my sister, blood or not. After filling her clay pot with water, Nkem balanced it on her head and prepared to head back home. Chisom walked with her for a while, chatting about the upcoming dance competition. Nkem, are you going to watch the competition? She asked, her eyes sparkling with excitement. I heard the prince is so handsome, and whoever wins will marry him. I wish that would be me. Oh, I want to marry the prince. Nkem laughed bitterly. Me? Go to the competition. Who do you know what you're saying? And Tadaku would rather tie me to the kitchen all day than let me step foot in that village square. Chisum frowned. That's not right. You should be allowed to have some joy in your life. Nkem shrugged. It's just the way it is, Chisum. The prince isn't looking for someone like me anyways. Girls like Nena with the expensive wrappers and proud face, they will win his heart, not me. As they reached the fork in the path, Chisum squeezed Nkem's hand. Don't lose hope, Nkem. Sometimes life surprises us in ways we never expect. Nkem watched as Chisum walked away, her heart heavy yet touched by her friend's kindness. She turned towards her aunt's house, where she knew harsh words and endless chores awaited. Little did she know, fate was already working behind the scene, setting the stage for her life to change forever. The dance competition was the talk of the village. Women discussed it at the stream, men talked about it under the palm wine tree, and children sang songs about the prince choosing his bride. One afternoon, as Nkem scrubbed her aunt's wrapper by the river, she overheard her cousins, Nena and Uju, whispering, "See, Nkem should not even dare go near that competition," Nena hissed. "Imagine her standing there with her tattered clothes." "Don't worry," Uju replied with a smirk. "Mama has a plan to deal with her." Nkem's heart sank. She wasn't planning to attend the competition. She couldn't even dance properly. But the way they spoke about her, it filled her with dread and fear. What were they planning? One morning, Nkem was at the backyard, scrubbing the pot from the previous night's meal, when she heard a loud, angry shout erupting from their hot kitchen. "Who used the firewood I kept for supper?" "Eh?" Auntie Adako's voice thundered. Nkem flinched, her heart sinking. She quickly raised the pot and set it aside, wiping her wet hands on her wrapper before hurrying inside. Aunt Adako stood in the kitchen, her hands on her wide hips, a fierce scowl on her face. Nena and her two sisters sat in the corner, pretending to be innocent bystanders. Their faces smug as they watched the scene unfold. "Auntie, I used the firewood," Nkem said timidly, her eyes cast downward. Adako's expression darkened, and she pointed a thick finger at Nkem. "You useless girl! How dare you touch the wood I specifically told you not to use? Do you think woods are gathered for lazy children like you to use?" Nkem raised her hands in defense. "Auntie, I didn't know it was for supper. There was no other wood and I needed to cook the yam for breakfast so Nina could eat. I didn't mean to touch it." "Shut up!" Adako snapped, cutting her off. "Don't you dare in your life again talk back to me when I'm speaking to you. You think you can ruin my plans and then open your filthy mouth to explain? What wood will I now use to cook dinner, eh?" Nkem swallowed hard, her stomach twisting with dread. She knew this anger was not just about firewood, but she didn't know where all this was going. "Now listen to me," Adako continued. "You will go to the Isiago forest and replace that firewood right now." Adako backed at her. Nkem's eyes widened in horror. "Isiago forest? Auntie, that's not where I fetched that wood from. Let me go to where I fetched it from and get the replacement, please." A loud, thunderous slap landed on her face. Wham! Even before she could finish talking. "Are you the one to tell me where my firewood should come from? You bastard child. Go and get me firewood from Isiago forest or pack your things and get out of this house," she yelled. Nkem fell to the ground, pleading with her palm on her cheek while she replied, "Auntie, please, it's Eke market today. You know the elder says spirits travel through that forest on Eke market days. It's dangerous." Adako scoffed. Look at this one. Spirits, from where to where? You that killed both your parents, should you still be afraid of spirits? You think those spirits will waste their time chasing a wretched girl like you? I don't think you know how useless you are. I don't think you know. Nkem took a step backward, her voice trembling. Auntie, please. People have gone missing in that forest, especially on Eke days. Can I go tomorrow or let me go to Uli forest and fetch firewood? I promise I'll bring double the wood. Adako's eyes narrowed dangerously. You dare argue with me? You that I took in when your mother, your wretched mother, died and left you to your fate. I took you in. I gave you food. I gave you shelter. I watered and clothed you. And you have the audacity to argue with me? Do you want to die? Do you think you have the right to make demands in this house? Or do you want me to teach you a lesson you will never forget? She quickly grabbed a pistol and raised it threateningly at Nkem. Nkem ran away. Nena giggled, her voice dripping with mockery. Maybe the spirit will teach her a lesson instead. The other two sisters laughed too, their voice echoing through the hut. Nkem's shoulder slumped in defeat. She knew there was no reasoning with her aunt. If she refused, she would face a beating and possibly be locked out of the house at the night. Taking a deep breath, she nodded. I will go. As Nkem stepped out of the hut, her raffia basket in hand, Adaku's lip coiled in a sly smile. She muttered under her breath, Good radiance. Let the forest take care of you, evil girl. She will never make it to the competition. Now we shall see how you will win with your useless dance steps. You think I don't see you dancing every evening? Want to come and become queen in this town when I have children? And go and die, stupid girl. She said this to herself, turned around and went into the hut. Inside the hut, Nena turned to her mother with a smirk. Mama, do you think she will come back? Adako shrugged. A cruel glint in her eyes. If she does, then maybe she is the luckiest girl that ever lived. But with any hope, she won't. Nobody has ever gone to that forest on a Eke market day and came back alive. Are you not in this village? Nena and her sisters laughed, delighted by their mother's wickedness. Let us see now. The way she's just dancing, whining her waist. I see her every night, Mama. If care is not taken, if that girl goes to that competition, she will win. Hello, that is why I sent her out. Let her go and die so that there will be no chance at all that she will even attend. You think I don't know what I'm doing? I'm your mother. Nkem walked hesitantly towards the forest, her bare feet sinking into the soft earth. The villagers she passed gave her a puzzled look, wondering why anyone would venture into the dangerous Isiago forest on an Eke market day. She gripped her basket tightly, whispering prayers under her breath. The sun was climbing higher into the sky, but the path to the forest seemed darker than usual, as though the trees themselves were warning her to turn back. Her heart pounded with every step, but she forced herself to keep going. Mama, she whispered, tears brimming in her eyes. If you're watching, please keep me safe. I don't want to die, she said with tears in her eyes. The forest loomed ahead, its towering trees casting long shadows. With a deep breath and a silent prayer, Nkem stepped into the darkness, unaware of the extraordinary encounter that awaited her within. The forest was eerily silent as Nkem ventured deeper into its shadows. The rustling of leaves overhead and the occasional call of birds made her shiver. But she kept walking, clutching her basket tightly. The path, which was well trodden at first, became narrow and winding, the trees forming a canopy that blocked out much of the sunlight. The tales of spirits wandering the forest on Eke Market Day echoed in her mind. The elders often warned that those who enter the forest without proper rituals or prayer risk being trapped forever. Nkem tried to shake off her fear, but her legs felt heavy, and every step seemed to drag her closer to an unknown danger. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. She kept whispering, her voice barely audible. Oh God, please guide me. As she walked a distance, she remembered about a tale where a woman was sent into that forest and she began to sing for the spirit and they let her go. She thought to sing and then she began to sing. Owamokam korogi inine. Owamokam korogi inine. Imana wanene mo dinjo inine. Wanene mo dinjo. Ejemubarankunje sinine. Osimu woya uwonkumbara inine. Nsiya kanje uli osimeje n'uli inine. Nsiya kanje ọgba osimeje n'ọgba inine. Osirigini inine isi agụ inine. Oh, mere mebere inine. Oh, mere mebere inine. She continued to sing and sing and sing. As she bent to pick a few scattered sticks, a chill ran down her spine. It was as though unseen eyes were watching her. The air grew cold, and the once faint rustling of leaves now sounded like whispers. Who's there? Who's there? Onye neba? Nkem called out, her voice trembling. She glanced around, her eyes darting from one shadowy corner to the other. But then she saw it, a faint glowing figure moving carefully between the trees. Nkem froze, her breath catching in her throat. The figure grew clearer, and with every passing second, and soon it was standing before her. It was a woman, tall and elegant, her face bathed in an ethereal glow. She wore a flowing white wrapper with red beads, and her hair cascaded down her back like a shimmering waterfall. There was something achingly familiar about her features. Mama, Nkem whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. The figure smiled softly. Yes, my child, it is me. Nkem dropped her basket and ran towards the apparition. Her mother's arms opened wide, and though they felt more like a cool breeze than flesh and bone, they wrapped around her lovingly. Mama, Nkem sobbed. You are here now. I've missed you so much. I've missed you so much. Your sister wants to kill me. Her mother's voice was soothing, like an angel. I've always been with you, Nkem, watching over you, guiding you, and protecting you. But today, I had to come to you in this form. The spirit whispered of your aunt's wickedness and the danger she sent you into. I had to come. Nkem's heart clenched. She wants me to die here, Mama. She doesn't want me to go to that competition. I know that's why she sent me here. Her mother nodded, her expression tinged with sorrow. Her heart is dark, Nkem, but you are stronger than her cruelty, and I will help you. With a wave of her hand, Nkem's mother summoned a pile of firewood. This is what you need, right? But that is not all I will give you today. The firewood seemed to glow faintly, as if imbued with some divine essence. Nkem stared in awe, wiping her tears. What else, Mama? Her mother stepped back, her gaze tender yet firm. You are meant to dance in that competition, my daughter. I taught you to love music and movement when you were little, even though life's hardship has stolen those memories from you. Nkem shook her head. Mama, I can't dance like that anymore. I've never had the chance to practice. They will laugh at me. Her mother smiled knowingly. You will dance, Nkem, and you will shine, because I will be with you. With another wave of her hand, a soft golden light enveloped Nkem. Her ragged wrapper transformed into a beautiful outfit, adorned with beads and intricate pattern that seemed to come alive under the light. Her skin glowed, her hair was braided and adorned with cowries, and her feet were wrapped in delicate anklets that jingled softly with every movement. Mama, this is magic! Nkem gasped, spinning around to admire her transformation. It's not magic, Nkem. It is love, her mother corrected. Now, listen carefully. I will guide you to the village square, but when you step on that dance floor, I will join you. Together, we will dance, and no one will be able to look away. The day of the competition finally came. That was a day after Nkem was sent to the forest. The village square buzzed with life. The crowd was larger than anyone had ever expected, and the excitement in the air was palpable. The women wore their best wrappers, their heads adorned with beautifully tied ichafu, that is, scarf. Men in traditional attire stood in small groups, discussing who they thought would win the prince's favor. Children darted through the throng, giggling and chasing one another. At the center of it all was the dance arena, a wide circle of bare earth, surrounded by drummers, flute players, and the elders of the village. They sat on elaborately carved stools, their expressions sad as they prepared to judge who won the competition. The prince himself, Obinna, sat on a raised platform, his father and mother all seated. He was a young man of striking features, tall and broad shouldered, with a quiet strength that made every maiden in the village dream of becoming his bride. Yet his demeanor was serious. He sought not just beauty, but grace, intelligence, and the spirit of a true queen. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue over the square, Nkem stepped into the crowd. Her appearance was nothing short of breathtaking. The beads on her outfit shimmered, catching the light with every movement. Her hair, braided and adorned with cowries, seemed to frame her face perfectly. The crowd gasped. Who is that? One woman whispered. She looks like a goddess, oh. Ha! Adako, standing at the edge of the crowd with her daughters, felt her chest tighten in rage. She hadn't believed Nkem would make it back alive, let alone look this radiant. Is this some kind of sorcery? She hissed under her breath. But Nkem didn't pay attention to the whispers or the glare. Her heart pounded as she walked towards the dance arena, her mother's soft voice guiding her every step. The drummers began with a low rhythm, building anticipation. One by one, the maidens stepped onto the circle to showcase their skills. Some were graceful, others awkward, but each tried their best to impress Prince Obinna. Adaku's eldest daughter, Nnenna, was among the contestants. She moved with calculated precision, her steps deliberate and rehearsed. The crowd clapped politely, but it was clear that no one was truly captivated. Finally, it was Nkem's turn. The orphan girl was going to dance. As she stepped into the arena, the drummers paused. Their hands hovered over their instrument. There was a hushed silence as all eyes turned to her. Even the prince leaned forward, intrigued by the mysterious maiden who seemed to radiate confidence. The first beat of the drum echoed like thunder, and then Nkem moved. Her steps were light yet powerful, as though the earth itself responded to her rhythm. She twirled gracefully, her arms extending like the wings of an eagle in flight. Unbeknown to the crowd, her mother spirit had entered her body, guiding her movement. Nkem felt like her limbs moved with a fluidity and precision she had never known. Her feet tapped to the beat, her hips swayed, and her arms painted stories in the air. The crowd erupted in cheers. Unbelievable, one elder exclaimed. She dances like a spirit. Another shouted. The drummers, inspired by her energy, played with an increasing fervor. The rhythm was intoxicating, and the crowd couldn't help but clap and stomp along. Even the prince was mesmerized, his eyes fixed on Nkem as she moved with a grace that seemed supernatural. Women began to chant, "Woo! She dances like a spirit. That is a true maiden. Beautiful." Adaku, meanwhile, watching from the sideline, could barely contain her anger. She grabbed Ujunwa's arm, her nails digging into her daughter's skin. How is this possible? How is this possible? She's supposed to be dead. She hissed. Ujunwa winced. But Mama, she's not just alive. She's still in the show and you're hurting my arm. She quickly let go of Ujunwa's hand. Not for long, Adako muttered, her eyes darting around for something, anything that could disrupt Nkem's performance. But no one else seemed to share her malice. The crowd was too enchanted by Nkem's dance, their cheer drowning out Adako's bitter mutterings. As the final drum beat echoed through the square, Nkem came to a graceful stop, her arms raised high and her head bowed. The crowd erupted into another loud applause, the sound reverberating through the evening air. The prince stood, his expression thoughtful as he descended from his platform. He walked towards Nkem, his steps deliberate, his gaze unwavering. When he reached her, he extended his hand. What is your name, beautiful maiden? Nkem, she said softly, her voice steady despite her pounding heart. The prince smiled. Nkem, your dance has spoken to my heart. You are the one I have been searching for. The crowd cheered again, louder this time, their excitement reaching a fever pitch. Nkem's chest swelled with pride and disbelief. Her mother's voice echoed in her mind. You were born for greatness, Nkem Delim, and this is greatness. Adako, meanwhile, had fainted twice. Her children stood frozen, their faces masks of blended bitter cola and dry gin. That was how bitter their faces were. They carefully laid plans, but it crumbled. And now, the girl she had tried so hard to destroy was about to become royalty. As the prince led Nkem to the platform, she turned her gaze to heaven. For a brief moment, she thought she saw her mother's face in the cloud, smiling down at her. Thank you, Mama, she whispered, tears streaming down her cheeks. And as the stars began to dot the night sky, the village celebrated the rise of their new princess, Nkem Delim, the girl who had danced her way to destiny with the help of her mother's enduring love. Nkem moved into the palace, her heart full of gratitude. She often felt her mother's presence, especially during quiet moments under the moonlight. She no longer had to do house chores. She no longer had to fear. One evening, as she gazed at the stars, she whispered, Thank you, Mama. Dalunem. I will make you proud. And from the rustling leaves, she heard her mother's voice. You already have, my daughter. I am proud of you. Through courage, faith, and the guidance of her mother spirit, Nkem overcame oppression and found her place in the world. Her story became a legend in Umweze, a tale of hope, resilience, and the unbreakable bond between a mother and her child. She made her friend Chisum her personal advisor and a counselor in the kingdom. She abolished every form of slavery and maltreatment of individuals. Did you enjoy this story? Kindly subscribe, turn on your post notification bell to be the first when another amazing story is made available. Tell me what you think about Adako. If you were in Nkem Delim's shoe, will you banish her from the village? Because I would. I will banish her and her children from the kingdom. Go to another village because this village will not contain me and you again. What do you think about Nkem's mother spirit helping her win that dance competition? Have you heard of spirits helping human beings achieve things? If you have, share it in the comment section. Let us talk about it. Like and also share for others to see this story and learn that wickedness is not good. Destiny can only be delayed, but it can never, ever, ever be denied. Till the next story, story lovers, enjoy your day. Bye.